It is hard not to be led by your heart when you're searching for your first home. But in this episode of First Homes Focus, in association with Skipton Building Society, we're going to be giving you the killer questions every first-time buyer needs to sense check any property properly. So, buckle up. And make sure you check out all our episodes dedicated to helping you find and buy your first home. Number 1, can you really afford it? You've got to consider the asking price minus your deposit, the mortgage deal you can get, and what those monthly repayments are going to be. But you've also got to price in bills for your new place, plus potential changes in interest rates, to be able to avoid living on a financial knife edge. Believe it or not, location is your second most important consideration. There's often a lot you can do to improve a property, but the area's pluses and minuses are out of your control. So will you feel happy and safe living there? Is there access to parking? Even if you don't have a car, this can have a big impact when it comes to sell. What's the traffic like on your road? Check it out at rush hour and school times. While you're there, listen out for other noise pollution like flights roaring overhead and trains thundering by. Next, think carefully about what's going to make an area work for you. What are the transport links like, and do they connect to where you need to get to? How about the schools? If you're in the catchment area of a desirable school, that's great if you have a school-age family, and it's a selling plus too. But if kids aren't on your agenda, do you want to pay the premium that those properties often command? What about green space? How important is that to you? And local shops? Living close to pubs, bars and restaurants can be a plus for some, but is it a big thumbs down for you? Now it's time to scrutinise the property itself. Yes, the period details may have charmed you, but let's get real. How much light does the house get throughout the day? What do you look out on? What's behind the property, and does it pose any kind of security risk? Does it have what you want from a garden? If you've never had your own patch, you might be surprised at how much work they can be. If the place needs bringing up to scratch, you need a realistic idea of how much it will cost and how you're going to pay for it. As a general rule, houses tend to be freehold and flats tend to be leasehold. But there are some exceptions to this, and in certain parts of the country, leasehold houses can be quite common. And we've got a great episode going into the details of each. But if you're buying a leasehold, you'll want to ask who owns the freehold and how much they charge. Try and look at previous tenant reviews and ask the seller too. And on that subject, here are the questions it's wise to use to quiz the owner. If you feel comfortable doing so, try to find out why they're moving and the details of how fast they need to sell and whether they've found somewhere to move to. You can ask this of the estate agent, as you don't want to create awkwardness by asking directly, but try and understand their reasons to sell if you can. If the property's been on the market for a long time, it could be overpriced or have a weakness which you haven't spotted. So ask if they've had any other offers. If the answer is yes, why were they rejected? A canny question to ask is if they've claimed on their building insurance since they've been there. This is a great way to find out about damp, subsidence or other structural issues. Even if they haven't claimed, ask what repairs or problems the property has had in the past. They are legally obliged to tell you. Before you put in an offer on the property, grab the agent for a frank chat. How have they reached the asking price? You can cross-check what similar properties in the area have sold for on the property portals. What do they see as the pros and cons of the property? Remember, an agent works for the seller, so be sure to do your own research. Get a sense of what the market's doing locally. Is it on the rise, static or falling? Are there any developments planned? This could be a plus, bring jobs and higher demand for houses, but could mean a lot more noise and upheaval in the short term. It seems like a lot of work, I know, but this is your first home and a huge investment in your future. And the more informed you are, the less likely you will run into any hidden costs or nasty surprises. Stay tuned for more hot tips on first-time buyers.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Move IQ's First Home Focus podcast. We hope you found our tips and advice helpful. And remember, home ownership may be closer than you think, and we are here to support you every step of the way. So please don't forget to subscribe, rate and review our podcast so you never miss an episode. Until next time.